From the Aero Sports Tennessee home office along the banks of the Stones River in the heart of Rutherford County, this is the Coach Will Krieski Show, a weekly showcase of highlights, interviews, and insights from Riverdale head football coach Will Krieski. Now here's your host and play-by-play voice of the Warriors, Chris Bosen.
Hampton with two receivers wide left, two to the right. Vaughn on his right side, claps his hands, takes the snap. He has time, looks to throw. Outlet to the 15, across the 20, trying to make a move, 25-30, first down, 35-40, 45-50, foot race down the far sideline, 30, 25-20. They won't catch him. Gone to the house. Explosive touchdown for Corbin Reynolds. The Loretto transfer, the senior, makes an impact on homecoming night at Riverdale as he takes it to the house from 89 yards away on 3rd and 19. He caught it at about the 15, Ethan, and made individual effort plays to take it all the way to the end zone, and Riverdale jumps back in front here, now 9-7 with the extra point pending.
And what a highlight for Reynolds after being held to no catches, no yardage last week. Finds a way early on to make this big play. He's already over 100 yards here in just the first quarter alone.
And most of that was yards after catch this time, as he caught it at about the 15-yard line or so on the outlet. Well, welcome to episode 9 of the Coach Will Krieski Show here on Aero Sports Tennessee. I'm Chris Bosen, joined once again by Riverdale head coach Will Krieski. And Coach, welcome. Congrats on Friday's 41-7 homecoming victory over Columbia Central. Warriors improved to 4-2 on the year with the non-region game. It was a fun homecoming week at Riverdale, but that only means more when the team wins on Friday night. So I know that was a better way to end the week. What did you like about the way the team performed Friday night?
Well, I was really proud of how their focus to detail and concentration. There was a lot of distractions throughout the week and the day. I felt like they handled it well. That they're a mature group. On Fridays, homecoming's always been huge here at Riverdale. Just the way they celebrate and the school and everybody. I mean, it's unbelievable school spirit. So Fridays of homecoming week are pretty chaotic. They've changed the schedule around a little bit, and we'd had our little, it's called a pig out during the lunchtime, and a bunch of food trucks, I think 20 plus food trucks were set up around the stadium, and the kids get extended lunch and they get to go and hang out and have fun in the stadium. Now, I take the football players away, and we went and had our own lunch together, and then went and watched a movie for a little bit, and then came back to our walkthrough. But they do that. The student body, I mean, it's unbelievable what this administration does for homecoming week and things like that. And then in the afternoon, 2:30, they had a pep rally for them, and the kids, our players, attended a little bit of it, and then came back, got ready for the game. And I felt like that they didn't let all the distractions, and because a lot of times, the homecoming things can get a little crazy, and I felt like they handled it very well, mature for them.
Something that I noticed, and we saw it there in our intro highlight, our offensive play of the game, as senior Corbin Reynolds caught that 4-yard pass, turned it into an 89-yard touchdown run on a 3rd and 19 play that gave you a 10-7 lead. But what I noticed was the individual effort, and it wasn't just Corbin. Throughout the night, I saw a lot of individual effort. We're going to look at some highlights coming up on that. But also behind that play, I noticed JV coming up with picking up a block that allowed Gavin that extra split second to complete that pass.
Yeah, I think everybody is starting to get familiarized with their roles, and that's what we've been preaching. Just do your job. Don't worry about doing somebody else's job. Sometimes early in the season, we were trying to overcompensate and do other people's jobs, and that hurt us in the long run. And I think they're starting to understand and trust their teammates. I trust the O-line to do their job. I trust the running backs, trust the receiver. And when everybody builds that trust, positive things happen.
We've got a lot of highlights to get to, so I want to dive in. And we've got some special highlights as well that we're going to look at as we go along today. But after that offensive play of the game, the series started out with a defensive play. And that's what I think is nice, Coach. We've talked a lot about it, that the defense of this team is really it's the identity of the team. Big play offense and a solid defense that's going to play hard start to finish. And on a 2nd and 6 at the Columbia 34, a guy that's having a really good year comes up with a sack early in the ball game. Snap, Booker in the pocket. Now he's pressured. Pocket collapses, and they keep him right contained in there, and the Warriors come up with a sack in on it. is Caleb Woods, the senior defensive lineman. He was one of a couple guys there. The play of Caleb Woods and his dominance up front, it allows your linebackers, your secondary, to do a lot of different things because he takes up several offensive players.
Yeah, Caleb's, having a good year. He's a coach's son. His dad's a tight ends coach at TSU, and he's been around the game all his life. He's lived in a field house. He's lived in a weight room, where, his dad coached high school football all the way up until his junior year of high school. And so, he understands the game. He understands what it takes. He understands the leadership that you need to have a good defense. And he's a selfless player. He's not worried about individual stats, things like he just wants to do his job and perform well.
And Booker was a challenging quarterback. We talked about him last week in a preview of the game. A little bit like Elliott maybe from Blackman, a little bit like some of the mobile quarterbacks we've seen this season. And so it's really helpful when the guys up front can keep him contained.
Yeah, they do a really good job. And, he slipped away on that one and was able to complete a pass. And that's where he's dangerous, man. He's very dangerous, talented football player. And he actually ran out of bounds on our sideline toward the end of the game. And I just put my arm around him and said, "Kid, you're a good football player. You've really impressed me." And, because he did. He never quit. There was a fight in that quarterback all night. And like you said, our defense had to be ready to go. They couldn't take any plays off. And they had to be able to contain him, and then they had to wrap him up when they were able to get to him.
You mentioned that one play, and they had the one big touchdown pass that was accounted for their only points on the night. It was a play that he went right, he went left, he was all over the field, just extending the play behind the line of scrimmage. How do you prepare for that with particularly your DBs downfield to just stay with the guy? Because that's what happened. I mean, he extended the play. Somebody, I guess, came off, and you can't really call it a breakdown in coverage. It's just an extended play.
Yeah, they kind of got lost for a second because they were running, and he did a great job. I mean, that play lasted forever, and then he was able to find an open receiver, and they kind of got lost. The secondary kind of got lost for just a second, and that's how that kid is special, man. Just being able to run around, then being able to find that open receiver, and luckily, we have young coaches on the staff, and Coach Odom, Marquell Odom, who played for me, actually played quarterback some for us in 15, 16, and 16 his senior year. He runs our scout offense. So he's the quarterback, and he does a really good job working with those guys. Coach Bonds does our secondary, but they work well together, and Coach Odom does a good job running around back there to try to simulate. It's not perfect simulation, but tries to simulate as much as they can game type situation with that, with a running quarterback.
Well, you get on the board first on a 4th and 7 play from the 12-yard line. You call in your special teams unit. They have been rock solid all season long, and Miles Weaver hits from 29 yards out. We'll take a look at that highlight right here. Jake rolling. The holder will spot it at the 19-yard line. It's a 29-yard attempt. Cooper Dees will be the long snapper. Snap, hold, kick from Weaver is up. It is good. And we talk about him every week. 5 of 5 on extra points this week, 2 for 2 on field goals. They're almost automatic out there, and yet a lot of things have to go right for those successful kicks to happen.
Yeah, they do. We always talk about, Cooper has to have a snap. Jake does a great job getting the ball in the tee, and then Miles comes through. So they all are critical, and we got to have blocking up front. So I'm really proud of those guys. I'm really proud of that unit for what they've been able to do this year. They've been very huge for us.
The next highlight I want to look at is from a guy that I mistakenly refer to him as a senior because, Coach, I've only been around this season, but it seems like he's been around forever. He plays like a senior. He's already got accolades like he's been a senior. And it's Hudson Fuqua. He comes up with a big hit. I want to look at that highlight right here. Calls for the snap, has it in the pocket, throws to the right side, trying to set up a little bubble screen, and it's knocked onto the ground. They'll say incomplete, as picking up the loose football was a lineman over there. And big hit by that defense, separated man from ball. And, Coach, there's another guy, Coach's son. He's been around forever. We talk about him, it seems like, every week. Goodness gracious, though. I mean, I would not want to take a hit from Hudson.
No, again, like you just said, he's a coach's son. He practices hard. He works out hard. He does everything like you expect a player to do. And when you got guys like that who's been around the game all their life and know how to handle themselves in the weight room, on the sideline, in the classroom, like, we got good leaders. We got good guys that's been a part and set an example and meeting our standard. That's what I've been stressing to the kids, man. around here, there's a high standard. Coach Rankin and them guys set the standard years ago in the 90s, and the community makes sure you uphold that standard. And those guys, that's what I talk about at practice. You got to uphold the standard at practice. And Hudson and Caleb does a great job making sure we meet our standard every day.
That's not the only highlight we have from Hudson. We've got more coming up from this game later on. But as we move on to our next one, it was another big play opportunity, 1st and 10, and your quarterback, Gavin Hampton, finds Braylon Burns for a 65-yard touchdown in the second quarter that puts you up 17-7. We'll take a look at that highlight right now. Potentially be a future Cougar. He's going to have a lot of offers in his future. Hampton on 1st and 10, going to air it out down the left side, wide open, drops it in, 4-6 into the end zone. Goes Braylon Burns, the 6'3", 180-pound senior. He took off. As soon as it left Hampton's hand, you knew it was a touchdown.
Absolutely. I mean, he had that extra step on his man and picks up a big game. Once you know you've got to step on somebody, it helps you get a little bit extra speed, and he stretches the field. A perfect throw by Hampton, put it right into the breadbasket. Burns didn't even have to break his stride, and that's another long touchdown for this explosive offense.
It's a very complex offense, so they have to make reads. Even the receivers have to make reads and adjustments. If the safety's coming down here, or they rotate and where do I need to cut my route off and things like that. So with that play, that was designed, deep ball, deep post. At the time, they felt like they could get over top of the safety and make that play. But also, if you saw on the underneath right there, Luke was open also. But he, if the safety would have gone over top and climbed on Braylon, he'd have been able to dump it off to Luke right there underneath. So, Gavin, we talked about it earlier in the year. Every rep, every game has mattered to Gavin because he's getting more comfortable. One, in the offense, is a brand new offense. And then another thing, just being a starter, like the speed of the game and figuring out an adjustment of the game and getting his reads, he's starting to feel comfortable at the quarterback position. We didn't have this when I first started coaching, but now with the huddle sideline and things like that, and Sky Coach, Coach Barnes and the receivers and the quarterbacks, they're over there watching every play from the last drive, talking and going over things, and they just carry that over onto the field. The O-line's over there meeting under the tent, talking communication and blocking assignments and going over little detailed things, and having that capability now on the sideline has been huge.
We started the highlights today with a sack of Booker. You get another sack on a 3rd and 9 play from the Columbia 31-yard line. It is your senior middle linebacker, Aiden Emmons, having allowed just 7 points each of the last 2 games. Booker on 3rd and long. He's pressured right up the gut from Aiden Emmons, and Emmons drops him down inside the 20-yard line. The senior linebacker on his final homecoming as a Riverdale Warrior. Pressure right up the middle, Ethan, and he records a sack here on Booker.
But Aiden did a great job right there, and just like Coach Barnes, Coach Real does a great job with his play calling, man, and designed it and knows when to call that blitz. And Aiden, that's just from they meet in the mornings before school, and then they meet again for block. So that's just from both Aiden and Coach Real just doing studying film and talking and communicating with each other. And Aiden's been an extension of Coach Rail. His characteristics, he just understands what Coach Rail wants, and he's been in our defense for 3 years and understands his role and what he needs to do. And his leadership's been unbelievable for us this year.
The linebackers are so fast. The DBs are so fast. If you can't throw the ball and keep them honest, they're going to come up and make plays.
Yeah, they are. They do a good job, and they get excited about it. That's what you love to see, man. They don't want anybody to cross the 50, and that's just awesome. Just their mentality they have on the defensive side, and that leads to their success on Friday nights because even at practices, if they get gashed in practice, man, it's you would think the world's coming to the end. So just how they practice and how they prepare, that's what helps them for Friday nights.
And I think we're going to talk about region play as we look ahead to Smyrna in a moment here, but this region defensively, a lot of attention gets paid to offense, but defensively, this is a brutal region.
Yeah, it's tough, and until you come here and experience and see it and understand it, you see each week you see top teams with defenses. They run to the football, they fly around, they bring pressure, and so
they hit hard.
Yes, they're very physical, and that's what this area of Rutherford County is known for, just how fast and physical they are, and that's what we preach around here. You have to be fast and physical if you want to survive this region.
Well, we talk about physicality. You often don't see that from a punt return guy, but we saw it this week. Zayden Jones with the highlight right here. Raymer will be at his 5-yard line. Deep man at his 48-yard line for Riverdale. Raymer has it, just does get it away. He's run into, no flag comes out. Zayden Jones has it into Lion territory across the 40. Zayden Jones doesn't step out of bounds after he collides with Jamari Hall. Zayden Jones just stood there after the collision, stayed on his feet, and picked up a couple extra yards.
You know, we haven't talked enough about Zayden this year. You know, Zayden's been a phenomenal player for us. On the defensive side, just plays solid. And now we put him on the offensive side some and letting him play some, and he comes up with good catches, and he's been a good punt returner for us. And, you know, I started laughing before that play. Luckily, you cut it off, but I was watching Elijah Reams on that play. Elijah, phenomenal blocking for Zayden, and those guys take pride. But I'm thinking that Zayden's going to break it because I saw Hall. I'm like, he's going to make a move and break it. And I was focused in on Zayden. Elijah Reams did perfect block, and I mean he extends, and as he extends, the defender goes flying into me, and I trip over somebody. My headsets go flying. So, you know, I didn't do a good job of reacting or paying attention. I was more focused on Zayden because, you know, I really wanted him to get one at one time and stuff. But again, I'm proud of all those guys and their effort on special teams and what they've done so far.
You know, and I went back and looked at slow-mo on the highlight there. I think because the punter got the other leg down and the punter, if you look at it in slow-mo, he initiates the contact, I think, with the defenders. And that, I think, is why the flag didn't come out.
Yeah, you know, and you could see those guys kind of try to, as they extended their arm, tried to avoid him. So I think that's another reason why the officials saw that our defenders tried to avoid him. And then, like you said, he made contact with them, and that's why we didn't get that flag.
It set you up a good field position there, and as you go down the field, you wind up going to that unique alignment. We see Hudson, we see Aiden on offense. We'll take a look at here as Gavin takes it in from 1 yard out. We've seen this lineup before when we saw Hudson Fuqua in on a direct snap situation. So Emmons is a lead blocker lined up in front of Hudson Fuqua. Snap is to the quarterback, Hampton. He gets behind Fuqua and Emmons and takes it into the end zone. Gavin Hampton going in with that different look offensively with Aiden as a blocker, with Hudson as a blocker. Being able to put some of those things on tape, Coach, that sets you up as we get to the back half of this season and into the playoffs, gives other teams something that they have to prepare for.
Yeah, you know, it's a good formation. We had a lot of success with it last year, and Coach Barnes does a good job when he puts it in, and those guys take pride in it up front. The O-line takes pride in it. And I mean, heck, I'd love to run behind our offensive line and then run behind Hudson and Aiden also, you know. I mean, they're going to – Hudson, if you're going to run behind two people, those are two good people to run behind.
No doubt about it. And then I wanted to have that Tritch highlight in there. It's a touchdown that got taken off the board. Luke had 2 touchdown catches come off due to penalty. But during the broadcast, Ethan even said the individual effort on that play likely leads to another offer for the freshman. I mean, when you see guys putting out that type of effort, not just taking the 6 or 8 yards that they may have gained, but fighting to get to the end zone, that says a lot about the type of player they are.
Yeah, he's tough. And you know, I don't know. Talley did a great job. I don't know if you watched Riley Talley all week, man. He did an excellent job blocking on the perimeter last week and did a phenomenal job. And I think what got him on that play is as he got his hands on him and then he extended. And as he extended, it kind of looks like he may have got outside the shoulder. But I mean, and after he extended, he let go. And as Trench was shaping, he was right there beside Trench, leading him in the end zone. And that's you know, yes, Luke did a great job, and I know I'm talking about Riley, but Riley, man, that's you got receivers blocking for receivers. That's special, and that's what makes me proud as a coach. You know, Riley could have just stuck on his man and just stood there, but instead he finished him and then climbed up to find somebody else, and that's when you start building good team chemistry and guys trusting each other and playing for each other. And that's what we kind of didn't have just because they were so unfamiliar with each other early on in the season, and now they're starting to understand each other and figure each other out and work hard for each other. And that's just that team concept.
We move forward. We talked about him earlier. This was our defensive play of the game. It's on an interception. 2 guys who make a big impact every week, it seems, Zar Morris and Hudson Fuqua on this highlight. Down to 45 seconds to go, first half. Off the edge, Zar Morris knocks it up in the air. It's picked off. Hudson Fuqua, 20, 15, 10. Horse collar inside the 10-yard line. As Hudson Fuqua picked it up, Czar Morris came off the edge hard, got a hand up into the passing lane. Tip drill results in an interception for Fuqua. He would have taken it to the house. A personal foul horse collar, though, will set up Riverdale inside the 5-yard line, Ethan, with 36 seconds and 3 timeouts to work with.
What a play right there. A sequence of events plays perfectly for the Warriors.
Thank goodness Hudson's all right after that tackle. Those tackles are dangerous. That's why it is a penalty with that horse collar tackle. But a great play by Czar. Again, you can see it there in the slow motion on the highlight. Czar could have very easily gone to the fake give onto the running back, but instead his IQ and split-second decision-making allowed him to stay with the quarterback and create that interception.
Yeah, he did a good job with his reads and staying at home and doing what he's coached to do throughout the week, and then just makes a play. Being an athlete, jumps up, hands up, and tips the ball and tips it right into Hudson's hand. And Hudson did a great job. Hudson's dropped a few picks, this year that he's been really beating himself up. And I was really proud to see him have that success right there on that play. And if he didn't have his dreads hanging out of the back of his helmet, he wouldn't have got tackled. I think Hudson said he grabbed his hair first, and that's what slowed him down. Yeah, so that's what slowed him down. And, if he didn't have those dreads, maybe he scored. I don't know, but still, again, I'm thankful he didn't get hurt that play. But that was a great play.
As that drive winds up going backwards, it was penalty packed. It had some different things. It winds up forcing you into a field goal. What are you thinking on that drive, though? I mean, it looks like we're going in for 6. We wind up having to settle for 3. We're going to look at Miles's field goal in a second. But sometimes when something goes wrong, everything seems to go wrong.
Yeah, that was not a good series offensively for us. We were a little frustrated, and then the guys got a little frustrated, and we had a player do something that uncharacteristic that's not met up our standard and put us back 15 more yards. And Gavin and the offensive guys was able to move the ball and get it close up, to be able to kick a field goal. But again, yeah, we weren't very smooth, and I think with the time on the clock, guys tried to rush things, and we just we weren't settled down and playing the type of football we're capable of playing.
So Miles hits a field goal from 39 yards out with just 1 second on the clock. We're going to look at that here. And it kind of sets up our special teams play of the week because, Coach, you were in the locker room for the highlight that extends from this, but I'll show it right after the field goal.
Alley is escorted by Kubo Dees. Cooper is the son of Brad and Brandy Dees. He's a member of the Riverdale football team. He is also a member of the RHS Honors College. He enjoys reading the Bible and is a pickleball and cornhole enthusiast. He likes listening to music, waking up early on Saturdays in the fall, and watching College Game Day. Go Dogs! Ladies and gentlemen, your 2025 football homecoming court and your homecoming king and queen, Allie Murphy and Kubo Dees.
Congratulations to Cooper on being recognized. That shows what his classmates think of him.
Yeah, that's he's a special kid, man. He does a great job. Long snapper, works hard and does everything, doesn't bring any negativity, and just a positive kid. I mean, you heard him say he loves to read his Bible. And he's just a great kid, a great all-around kid to have in the locker room and be a part of your team. And he knows his role, and he's a backup linebacker and a long snapper, and he does exactly what he's supposed to do and is coachable to do. But also, I mean, we missed it also, and I need to go back and watch it. But I don't know if you noticed the little boy and little girl out there. It's Coach Rail's son and my little daughter. So, Coach Rail and I were just as nervous about that situation. We were afraid they were going to do something or not do it right. So I think we were more stressed about those two Friday night than anything else.
But the band, the ROTC, I mean, just a really, really cool night.
Yeah, it was really special. I don't know if you saw the 2 teachers standing with Cooper, Mr. Rainey and Miss Proctor. They do a phenomenal job with homecoming and homecoming week organizing. People don't understand how much work goes involved, and they work religiously to make sure the standards upheld and that homecoming goes smooth. And they did a great job. I mean, every activity we had throughout the week, their dress up days. I think this year, man, it was more involvement in homecoming than I've seen in a long time. And I felt, I think once they, got involved and started doing things, and they've really made it where kids enjoy it. Kids have fun. Sometimes the high school kids can think they're too good or too cool for the homecoming stuff, but that's not it around here. And teachers, I think almost every teacher dressed up. It was nuts to see that, just to see the school spirit and everybody in on it together.
Yeah, that school pride, that school spirit, it goes a long way because when you're down, it helps pick you up. And when you're up, it gets everybody feeling like they're a part of it.
Yeah, like you said, the ROTC, the band, the cheer, the dance team, everybody played a big role in it because you have to have all those guys buy in, everybody to buy in for it to be successful. And I feel like with the teachers buy in and the students and all those clubs and other extracurricular activities buying in, it made it special. I wish you could have seen our pep rally on Friday and how many teachers were in front of, like, we have teachers for the seniors, teachers for the juniors, teachers for the freshmen, and they lead these cheers during the pep rally, and it's unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. And I mean, I'm not talking about one or two teachers. I'm talking about 10 teachers to every grade level, and it's just how much involvement. And they take these, they do class wars, over who comes up with the best saying and song and theme during the week, and they take it so serious, and they practice it, and then when the pep rally, he's now the head coach at BGA, Bobby Bentley. Bobby Bentley stopped by when he was at South Carolina in 2016 or 17 when he was recruiting. And I said, Coach, we got a pep rally. You want to step in here for a second? He said, yeah, I wouldn't mind. I'm an old high school coach. I'd like to see what y'all got. He hit me. He said, Coach, I've never seen anything like this before. He said, I was the head coach at Burns, South Carolina. He said, this is unbelievable. He said, you got something here. So, when other people who's been like everybody's heard of in the high school football world, Burns, South Carolina. And so for him to say that means that we're at someplace special.
A few more highlights before we jump ahead to talk about Smyrna briefly. We talked about Riley Talley a bit earlier. He had a 1st and 10 catch from the 41-yard line. 1st and 10 from the Columbia Central 41. Hampton setting up that middle screen. It's maybe tipped. Talley pulls it in at the 30, at the 25-20. Look out, 4 corner, 10, 5. Stiff arms a tackler, and into the end zone goes Riley Talley, the 5'11 senior on homecoming night. Extra effort, individual effort, yards after catch. Riley Talley from 41 yards out. Riverdale extends their lead. Warriors in front now, 33-7 with the extra point pending. And Ethan, we've seen a lot of extra effort, individual effort tonight. Talley gets it here for the touchdown.
Talley had that huge play last week in Stewart's Creek where he leveled the defender, picked up 40+ that was taken off the board. He had a big catch earlier, and now he's got a touchdown. You love to see it.
And, Coach, we see the blocking downfield there. You see Luke Tritch, you see the lineman getting the blocks in there, and that just want to. He could have stepped out of bounds down around the 5, but got to the goal line.
No, they did, like you just said, the block, and that's what impresses me. Braylon Burns was locked on his guys. Luke, Eli Clark was doing his coming out and doing what he's supposed to, his responsibility, and those guys just blocking downfield for each other. That's what it's about. That's what makes it special. Even if they don't have the ball, they're going hard and doing exactly what they're supposed to do because they have to trust their teammates to do their blocking and their assignments when they get the ball. So I thought that was good to see, especially seeing them. Like you said, Riley's had a few touchdowns called back this year, and he's just been consistent for us and making plays, and he's getting better and better every day and every week.
Last 2 highlights we'll look at. Jackson Porter makes a defensive play, and then Corbin Reynolds caps off the night with his 2nd touchdown of the ball game. Second half. Booker takes the snap, hands the ball. The line is collapsed on that right side. What a dominant play up front. Coach Kreisky likes to get those subs some snaps when he can, as many snaps as he can. That's what he doesn't like about the Mercy rule, rolling clock. 2nd and 13 from the 39-yard line. 2 receivers left, 2 to the right. Hampton pressure from his left, just does get rid of it. Corbin Reynolds inside the 20. Corbin Reynolds into the end zone. Hampton had that internal clock. It went off just in time. Corbin Reynolds was wide open in that seam route. 39-yard touchdown strike from Hampton to Reynolds. And the Warriors extend the lead now. Riverdale 40, Columbia Central 7. Extra point is pending. Coach, on that play by Jackson Porter, tremendous individual effort. He's got a hand up in his face, still makes the play for the loss of 6 yards. And then Gavin to get rid of that football just in that split second before he's hit to connect with Corbin for the touchdown.
Yeah, both those were great plays. Jackson Porter's a guy that doesn't really start, but he has a significant role on the defense, and he's on every special teams, and we've talked about him before. And that kid practices hard. The energy he has at practice, it's contagious. Again, you talk about culture and like, I just love how he practices. I brag on him all the time. Probably talk about him too much sometimes, but his energy at practice is what helps us be. He'll go on scout team defense and just fly around, and just he makes the offense better though because of the way he practices, and that translates to the game, and that's why he's making those plays on Friday nights. And then Gavin stepping in and being able to take it and throwing it, and Corbin with a good catch and scoring. that was a great play, and those guys did a good job connecting on it, and they're doing well together and working well together. And I appreciate you saying about the mercy rule sometimes can be a negative thing, because those guys, man, you want those guys to get in, get all the reps on Friday night. It's not fair. You ask them to come out here Monday through Thursday and practice hard and do things, and then you look up and it's 1 minute left to go in the game, and you've only had 2 series, since the mercy rule. So, those guys, they get a lot of their reps on Monday night with JV and stuff, but still it's just different on Friday nights, playing in front of the whole student body section and playing in front of a big homecoming crowd and playing in front of all your family members. That's just different. So, I do like those guys to get in and get their experience, because that's your future. That's the future of your program. So I think any time, Coach Roger Perry, who I worked with, always believed that was valuable. That was valuable experience whenever you got up to get those guys in, because it helps them get ready for next year and their role for next year.
As we look quickly ahead to Smyrna, we get back to region play on a short week Thursday night. Coach Matt Williams' squad, I don't know if there's a better fit of school mascot to type of team that he puts on the field every year. They're a bunch of Bulldogs. Every time I've ever seen Smyrna play, they're going to play you tenacious. They're going to, fight you tooth and nail for every yard, offensively and defensively. They're a tough team, and they're looking to get into the playoffs this year.
Yeah, they are. They're a very tough team, and they've had 2 really good wins. They've kind of got hot, unfortunately for us, at a bad time. They're really hot, putting up 40-plus the last 2 weeks. They got their quarterback. They found their quarterback in 15, and, he's running the ball really well, and then also he makes good plays throwing the ball. Their O-line has gotten comfortable each week, and they were kind of a younger group to start the year with, and now they're getting better. You can tell just how much they've grown from week 1 to week 7, and those guys are getting better at front. And defensively, like you said, they're just a bunch of Bulldogs. They run around, they'll hit you. And every time we played Matt Williams, it's been a tough physical game. Coach Williams and I go way back. When I was a student teacher, about to graduate from MTSU, I did my student teaching at Blackman, and Matt Williams was just hired that year at Blackman High School as the defensive coordinator under Coach Bobby Wells. And I just walked up one day and said, "Hey guys, I'm going to be a student teacher. Can I help?" And Matt Williams was like, "Yeah." And he pointed and sent me off to the field and started just having me do all kinds of chores and things like that. And his brother, Mark, who's with him on staff, was on that staff. He was the offensive coordinator. And so we worked together, and I got to know those 2 guys. Their dad was an old high school coach. My dad's an old high school coach. So we have a lot of things in common. Both their brothers, Matt and Mark Williams, coach football. Me and my brother coach football. And so we have a lot of similarities, common things in our families, and the Williams brothers has always been really good to me and my brother, and they helped us in this profession and help us grow and to help us get to where we are. And I can't say enough about those 2 guys and what they've done for me and my brother.
Well, you mentioned they got a 47 win last week over Coffee County. The week before that, 41-11 over Rockville in a region game. Coach, as we look at the region standings, now we got 4 regular season games left on the slate. Oakland sits on top. Blackman sits there in second. There's really a 4-team fight for the last 2 spots.
Yes, there is.
There's only 2 spots, and it's Smyrna, it's Siegel, it's Rockville, it's Riverdale. Now, those are your next 3 opponents. This is kind of a round robin among these 4 teams. Whoever comes out atop of those seedings is assured of getting into the playoffs.
Yeah, it can be stressful. I told you after the Blackman game, it's playoffs from here on out. And that's what it is. It's playoffs. And that's what I'm stressing to the kids. You can't have a down week. These are from here on out, we're in the playoffs. Because, say you win out, then you could possibly move up to second. You lose two of the next 4, then you're not going to be in the playoffs. So you have to be focused. You have to be locked in. You have to be ready to go. And being in this type of season, there's injuries that happen. So the next man has to be ready. Whether it's Smyrna, whether it's Riverdale, whoever's in the game, they have to be prepared and ready to go and play tough, because nobody's going to lay down, and not in this region. Everybody, Siegel's fighting for their life. Rockville's fighting for their life. Riverdale's fighting for their life. And so is Smyrna, because we all want to make the playoffs. And that's what makes this region is kind of, it's nerve-wracking, but it's special. I mean, these are the games you want to play in. These are the types, this is the atmosphere. You don't want to just go play 10 games and blow out 10 teams. I mean, that's not what, this is challenging. It brings you to work every day. It drives you. It motivates you to be the best, because you want to go out there and make sure your team is the best team there. So, our coaching staff has been working religiously. Working hard, and our players, and it's just, I'm sorry, I'm getting a little excited. I'm ready. I'm ready to go tonight, man. I'm ready to play tonight. Let's go.
It's good. It's a short week. It does get the blood flowing. You're exactly right, though. When you know that both teams are going to give their best, when you know that both teams have something on the line, a win when there's something to lose means a lot more.
Yeah, it does. It does. And like you said, Smyrna and Riverdale rivalry goes way back from, Gary Rankin and Philip Shad Owens, who's at Knox Catholic now. That's what Coach Shad Owens, when he showed up over, he said, Coach, this brings back a lot of memories. Him and Coach Rankin had a lot of battles. And then him and Coach Adelot had a lot of battles after Coach Rankin left. And, and then Coach, Shad Owens was able to win 2 state championships at Smyrna. So, and then Matt Williams, early in his career, took him and was runner-up to Maryville in state championship. So, they have a rich tradition just like Riverdale. So,
they always have always good players. Jerry Martin's going to be up there. He's going to cause some chaos. Big guy. But as you look at your health going into the ball game, how do you feel?
Again, we got some issues, some bumps and bruises and things like that. I'm hoping we'll get out, like you said, it's a short week. I'm hoping we get everybody back for the game. They've been doing treatment, rehab, going through all that. Then they're also going through some practice stuff. So it is tough, but I'm hoping we have everybody come Thursday. If not, next man up. Let's go. Are you ready to play? No, let's go play.
We're on the air 6:00 Thursday night with a replay of this Coach Will Krieske show. Then we'll be live from the press box at about 6:35, kickoff at 7 against Smyrna. So I hope you have a good fall break, the little break that you get. Wish you the best of luck against Smyrna.
Hey, I appreciate it again. Thank you. I know it's a short week, and I appreciate what you do. And I can't brag enough on what you, Mr. Limbaugh, helped with the Jumbotron and get it. He's called me today. He's figured out a way we can show instant replay and things like that. So, man, I had more comments last week about how beautiful the stadium, the facilities, and just how everything's set up. And that goes to all the stakeholders, everybody involved, from Richard Gibson to John Lewis, our booster club, to Miss Blair, and Coach Messer. Everybody's involved to help make this place. And, it looks like we've said before, it looks like a small college. It's like a small college atmosphere. And I can't thank everybody else enough for being a part of it.
Absolutely. Well, when the tone is set and that standard is set, it encourages everybody to kind of rise up and meet that standard. So I appreciate you, and we'll talk again soon.
All right. Thank you.
Absolutely. Remember, Warrior fans, be proud, be bold, be brave, be ever loyal. For Coach Will Krieske, I'm Chris Bosen. We'll talk to you again next time on the Will Krieske Show. Good night.
This is the Coach Will Krieske Show, a weekly showcase of highlights, interviews, and insights from Riverdale head football coach Will Krieske. This is Riverdale football. All hail.